Do subscribe to Ekeeda channel and press bell icon to get updates about latest engineering, HSC and IIT JEE main and advanced videos.
Hello students, today we are studying chapter respiration. In that we are studying topic types of respiration. When I say types of respiration, there are many: aerobic, anaerobic, facultative, obligate, fermentation. Let's study and find out about each one of them. Respiration. When you say respiration, it is a process in which glucose is broken down into ATP in the mitochondrial matrix. That's respiration. You want, or plant wants, to gain energy by breaking down glucose molecule. But there are different kinds of respiration which we'll go through today. The first one, aerobic respiration. And when I say aerobic respiration, it means respiration that takes place with the help of oxygen. Yes, oxygen is completely required in this process. It leads to complete breakdown or oxidation of organic food materials, and along with that, carbon dioxide and water are produced as a byproduct in this type of reaction. The second one, the anaerobic respiration. The name itself says, in anaerobic respiration, oxygen is not at all needed. It is an intracellular process and it can take place even in the absence of oxygen. In mitochondrial matrix, anaerobic respiration takes place in certain point of time. Many organisms do anaerobic respiration just to survive. Now, anaerobic respiration is further divided into various types. One of them is fermentation, and fermentation could be two different types. One is alcoholic fermentation and the other one is lactic acid fermentation. When I say fermentation, it means it is an extracellular process in which an organism, and most of the time the organism is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, does breakdown of organic products to liberate certain amount of oxygen and certain amount of CO2. Now, fermentation products could be of two different types. One is alcoholic fermentation and another one is lactic acid fermentation. Let's talk about alcoholic fermentation. In alcoholic fermentation, the byproduct is ethyl alcohol. Especially during brewing process, alcoholic fermentation takes place. Whereas during lactic acid fermentation, the product is lactic acid. There is something called as facultative fermentation, or you can say facultative anaerobes, and another are obligate anaerobes, which take place in aerobic respiration, which we'll be going through today. Types of respiration. Now, in this types of respiration, we will be studying majorly about two types of respiration. The first one is aerobic respiration and the next part would be anaerobic respiration. Now, when I say about aerobic respiration, it occurs in the presence of O2 or oxygen, and that leads to complete oxidation, or you can say complete breakdown of substances, and this substances has to be organic substances like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, fats, to generate energy in the form of ATP and liberate CO2 and H2O, which can be used in the photosynthesis process. There are various kinds of organisms that actually undergo this process of aerobic respiration. One of them is facultative anaerobes. Now when I say facultative anaerobes, it means that they can exist in the presence or absence of oxygen. Even if oxygen is present or absent, their work is never stopped. One of them is yeast or Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which does the process of fermentation or breaking down of various edible products which are spongy in nature. The next one is obligate anaerobes. Now, obligate anaerobes are the ones which cannot survive or thrive in an environment where oxygen is present. Oxygen is lethal to them, or oxygen can kill to them. So they cannot survive with oxygen present in and around their surrounding. They need an absence of oxygen. An example of this is methane bacteria. Now, methane bacteria is used during biogas production or gobar gas production. That is the reason the biogas dome is fully covered and fully packed with bricks so that no oxygen can gain entry and methanogenic bacteria can do their work silently and produce biogas as a methane. Anaerobic respiration will take place in the absence of oxygen, and partial oxidation or incomplete oxidation of organic substance happen in this process. Now there are different kinds of anaerobic respiration. One of them is fermentation. And when I say fermentation, it is an extracellular step, or you can say extracellular process that takes place outside cell. A type of anaerobic respiration that happens in the absence of oxygen using microbes like Saccharomyces cerevisiae or yeast, especially dough making or raising any product uses fermentation as a product. Now fermentation could be of two types. One is alcoholic fermentation and another one is lactic acid fermentation. When I talk about alcoholic fermentation, it uses, or the end product are ethyl alcohol, whereas lactic acid fermentation will produce lactic acid as an end product, and it is produced by the breakdown of milk sugar, which is lactose. Students, in this part of the chapter, what we did study was about aerobic and anaerobic respiration. What could be the various parameters of aerobic respiration and what could be the various parameters of anaerobic respiration, and what are the types of anaerobic respiration. That was lactic acid and another was alcoholic. I hope you are very clear about this concept of types of respiration. Thank you.